What is up, guys? Welcome back to Conversation episode number 54. Today we have two very special guests. Today we're going to be talking about, who are they, what do they do, and also some stuff that's happening around the world. If you haven't seen the movie Leave the World Behind,
Nice.
we're going to definitely be talking about that, what implications that may be having for us. So go ahead, we're going to introduce Jeremy and his wife Mimi. They're
Hello.
executive consultants at a very prestigious, very awesome company that I'm very happy to be a part of. So we're gonna get into it, man.
Cool.
Who is Jeremy and who is Mimi? Please let our viewers know and a little bit about yourselves.
Okay.
How did y'all meet? Who were y'all growing up? And anything else y'all want to tell the viewers?
Okay, cool. What? My name is Jeremy Hennessy. I'm a loving father and husband.
Okay.
Me and my wife, we met. Oh my goodness, 2000. When did we meet?
2005, honey.
2000. Really? Oh wow.
Yes.
You sure?
2005.
Okay, 2005.
Okay, she got it down.
You got it down. So.
In person.
Oh, in person. Well,
Okay, so-
we initially met online. There we go. On a site called
Black Planet.
Black Planet. You know more than me.
Black Planet. See, I've never heard of this thing.
It was
I think
way
it's when
back in the day.
MySpace came out.
Yeah,
Okay.
same back in the day with MySpace and all that stuff. We met online and we just chatted, never talked on the phone or anything, just over how much a time span?
We started talking. Well, we met in 2001, and I don't think we started talking on the phone until I think it was months later, like 7, 8 months later.
Yeah.
I didn't trust him because his voice was too low.
She thought I was an old man.
I thought he was an old man.
really?
If you hear him on the phone, he sounds like an old man. So I was like, I don't know if I could. If he really in his 20s.
How old were you at the time?
Well, we only 1 year
We were
apart.
young.
So
Yeah, like
Okay.
at the I was
22?
22, 23, 22, somewhere like
Okay.
that.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
so you were young.
I don't know how I sound old.
The way that he talked, it doesn't sound like a normal young person.
Well, that's
So,
when we met
We had
and
to make
connected.
sure that he was real.
And
So it took about 3 years for y'all from the initial that y'all met online till y'all met in person.
right,
Right.
exactly.
So and back in the day, for y'all young people, that now now you can pretty much communicate and see somebody like in real time with
Right.
with FaceTime.
Yeah,
So
they
y'all really couldn't communicate until y'all were at home on a computer, right?
Right,
Right.
most of the time. Yep,
Yeah.
exactly. We didn't have the smartphone.
Right, exactly.
Right.
No
You
cell
could
phone.
do
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just flip phone.
Yeah.
So it was some time there, and people was living life. I mean, it wasn't so easy accessible,
Right.
which is kind of a good thing in a way. You don't want to make yourself easy to accessible to everybody
Right.
back then, but now you can't help it.
Yeah.
It serves its purpose. It has its advantages.
True.
But that's it kept it going, and she came down to Houston because she wasn't living here, and she could probably tell you about why she was here. Why were you here?
I was here because right before I had moved, it was a conversation that I had with the Lord, and I said, Lord, I'm tired of these crazy relationships, and I want to see if you have something more for me. I want more out of my life than just this. I know there's more to life than just this. I want to see what you have for me, and in that, He revealed to me that He had something for me, but He needed me to make a move. He needed me to jump. And that jump was moving from Beaumont to Houston. And when He first revealed it to me, I was like, well, there's nothing from me there. Like, what would be the reason why am I leaving everything that I know to move to a place where I'm not with family, I'm not with really anyone? And all I kept, it's just like it kept coming to my remembrance. Move, move, move. Like it started, becoming more consistent. And finally, it was some changes that was happening in my life as well. I started kind of secluding myself from certain types of friends and, reading my word more and praying more and just seeking His face more. And things just started changing. And I decided to let my parents in on it. And mind you, my dad, he was a minister, and my mom was in the church, and it was new to them. It was very strange and new because it came out of nowhere.
Right.
Like, you want to move to Houston? And I was like, I do. I don't know what's there. I don't know what God has for me. I have no clue, but I need to make this move.
And you were what, 22?
At that time, I was 2005. Was it 2024? I was like, what, 21? I don't even know the
23.
math. 23. I was 23.
Yep.
Oh, excuse me. See, he know numbers now. Okay, so yeah, so I was 23. I had they didn't understand. I quit my job too. I was ready. Like I was ready. Quit my job, was focusing more on the Lord, and was just like, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna move. And my mom was like, you need to. How about you stay? Get make some money, make about $1,000 before you decide to move. And that normally that would be great, but it seemed like I had such an urgency. Like, I don't know, I never felt like that before. And it was just like, regardless of the fact, yes, it was great to wait, but God said move now.
Right.
Like, he said move now.
And how far is Beaumont from
Beaumont
Houston?
from well, it was the south side of Houston, southwest, so about an hour.
Oh, okay, so it's a pretty good
hour and a
distance.
half.
About 90 minutes.
Hour and a half, yeah.
90
Okay,
minutes
so it's a
drive.
pretty good little
Yeah,
drive.
yeah.
So it's not like it's just 30 minutes that, if there's something happening,
No,
That's
it was like an hour and a half.
yeah.
And the funny thing is that when it was time for me to move, and that was the same weekend Hurricane Katrina had happened. I had reserved my little U-Haul and had everything planned, and because of that event, the Katrina victims were prioritized first.
Oh, right.
So they had to get they were given the U-Hauls, and when I called for my U-Haul, they said it was not available. And I was like, oh my gosh, wait a minute. But God said move. And so, it popped up on my mind, and I was like, I called one of my friends, and I was like, hey, didn't you say that your dad had a double cab truck? And I told him the situation. Like, at that time, I was like free to like just say whatever God gave me. And I told him, I said, God told me I need to get to Houston. I need some help, and wanted to see if you can help me. And he was like, sure, yeah. And so he came over. My parents had actually my whole family went to church.
They were probably
That was
praying,
so
Lord,
bad.
let her stay. You don't need to go.
But I had a little old Jeep at that time. He brought his truck. I piled everything that I could on top of that double cab truck. He followed me all the way to Houston. My Jeep broke down twice.
On
And
the way
overheated
there?
on the way.
Obstacles.
All kind of obstacles. And overheated twice. Still made it. And I made it just in time. My cell phone went dead. I couldn't call the apartments to let them know that I was going to be late. I don't know how the leasing agent stayed, but she did. And by the time I got there, she said, oh, girl, I was just about to leave. Here are the keys to your apartment. And all I could really say is thank you, Lord. So that step, that leap of faith was the start of this journey.
So how after, what was the time frame that you moved and then you met Jeremy in person for the first time?
So, like I told you, I had known of Jeremy like since 2001. So it just so happened that before I did move, we had lost communication. Like, it had been, last time we talked was in 2001. So we lost communication over that time.
Yeah.
And it just so happened when I had a failed relationship, he called me out the blue. That was that 2005 year. He called me out the blue, and it was a friend that I needed in that time.
Yeah.
It was Christian advice and prayer, and just really, it was the encouragement that I needed to be able to move forward, because I was stuck, and I was like, I'm hurt. I'm really hurting from this failed relationship, and he was the one that God sent to me to help me along the way. So it was really just talking
That's
over the
how
phone.
our conversation was when we talked. It was
So what inspired you to give her that call? Like, what made you put like that thought? Because it was
I know, right?
good 4 years y'all didn't talk, and then
Yeah.
it's just like, you know what? First, how did you get her number? Second, like what inspired you to be like, you know, I'm gonna call this girl.
So eventually, I probably asked her for a number or whatever. We exchanged numbers at the time, and she would call me sometime randomly. It'd always be late, I guess, but we'd talk, and that's when I encourage her and things like that because everything's about timing and also what helps you. I think it's encouraging to me when I encourage other people.
Right.
And when I'm going through something in my life, I like to encourage other people. I don't know if they're going through anything or not, but it gives something inner power to me or motivation to me when I talk to people and encourage them along the way. So that's what, just God may put it in my heart and my mind at that time to give a call. And the conversation just went to encouraging her and helping her along the way and giving her motivation.
Yep.
That's awesome. So then after that, how did y'all start? Like, you know what? I want to start dating. What was y'all's first date? Let's say.
The first date, it wasn't even a first date. It was just
Wasn't a date?
no.
No, it wasn't a
It
date.
wasn't a date. It was more of I needed help, like as far as like, where everything was, because Houston was huge, and so I really didn't know the area great. He helped me quite a bit. He was like, don't be trying to go to the store all late by yourself, like, and it's stuff that you normally think
Yeah.
that a young lady should know, but I was just like, I'm just going to the store. He was like, no, not this late. You got to be careful around here. So he was really that friend that helped me just learn Houston.
Yeah.
And learn the area where I was in. And one day I just, it was the craziest thing when he would go to church services all the time. And so he would just come visit, like, hey, how you doing, whatever, whatever. And one night he came over after service, and we were just talking. And I was just like, hey, how's your relationship with the Lord, And he was, he told me, and he was like, it's good, and da-da-da. And I was like, okay. So we had a good conversation. We were just talking about the Lord and stuff. And before he left, I was like, normally when he would leave, I would always say, come on, let's pray before you go. And so we were about to pray. I sat. It was a love seat, and so he sat on the right side. I sat on the left side, and I said, okay, let's pray. And we held hands, and I was praying, and it was the weirdest thing. I still get chills to this day. Like, it just does something to me because I began to pray, and I've never experienced the Holy Ghost like I had experienced it before that period. And God started giving me visions, pictures of us. And while I was praying, like, it was just pictures were starting to come up in my mind. And it showed a picture of our wedding, a picture of him preaching, a picture of me giving birth. And I was like, wait a minute.
Scary stuff.
It was extremely weird.
Yeah.
I've never experienced anything like that. And then all of a sudden, our hands began to, I started feeling like a surge. It was like like if it's like a volt, like
Energy between us.
it felt like that. I felt like a surge in our hands. And it was like I was praying, and then I stopped for a second, and I was like, Lord, no. And he was like, he used to be your husband. And I was like, Lord, please, no.
No.
Because understand this, I just got out of a bad relationship. Person that you think that you're going to be with, and you're not.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's not what I was looking for. Lord, I wanted more of you. I didn't ask for somebody else.
Yeah.
It wasn't my intention. I wasn't looking for that. But God was like, he's the one. He's the one. And then he said, tell him.
So you told him right there and then?
No, wait. No, I didn't. I was like, no, it was.
Visions of our kids.
It was,
All right.
but it was a battle. And mind you, the whole time I was praying, and when I stopped, he had fell asleep. He had fell asleep.
What?
Yes,
Are
he
you
did.
serious?
I didn't even know he was asleep. So I'm sitting here
Wow.
holding his hand. I'm praying,
That's
and I'm like,
intense prayer.
yeah. And I'm like, Lord, no,
You're
please.
meditating real good.
Yeah.
I was praying in spirit.
Oh, okay, you
That's
were a
why.
sweetheart. That's what it was.
Yeah, that's what.
Okay.
See, when you were dreaming, when you were having the visions, he was having the dreams.
He
Yeah, there you
needed
go.
to because he was like, oh, crazy. What you over here? But God was like telling him, I was like, Lord, please, it's not what I was praying, like what I was looking for, and he finally said, like it was a strong surge, and he said, tell him.
Tell him, wake up.
And when I said yes, Lord. And so when I got through praying, I looked over. He on the like
Really?
It must have been
Wow.
a late
I
night.
said what? And I was like, hey, I said time for you to go. We're done praying. He was like, oh yeah, okay. Oh,
I didn't do that. She been bad.
But he got up and he got to the door. I never forget the scene. He got to the door and he turned around. He said, all right, I'll see you later. I said, okay. I said, well, wait. And he was like, oh, what's up? And I said, I have something to tell you. And he was like, yeah, well, sure, what's up? And I said, I don't know how you're gonna feel about this. My exact words.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't know how you're gonna feel about this, but God told me to tell you that you're to be my husband. And
So she did tell you that night.
I
Yeah, she
did.
did. Yeah,
I
she
did.
did.
So
And
she proposed first.
Yeah, right.
No,
Yeah, right.
but all I
That was more
remember
like
him doing.
instructions.
But all he did was he put his hands in his pocket. He had a suit on. He put his hands in his pocket. He took a deep breath. He said, I'm gonna pray on that.
I'm gonna pray real hard.
And that was it. And he walked away. He walked down the stairs. I closed the door and I turned around. I was like, oh my, he's gonna think I'm crazy. Like, he thinks I'm crazy. Like, Lord, I can't believe you had me do that. And I thought the worst. I thought like it was over, friendship over, done. I'm crazy. Like, he's gonna tell everybody. And it was so crazy that the next day.
And what were you doing as you were walking?
Yeah, what
Like,
were you doing? I never asked him. What?
Like,
Yeah.
so after you heard that she closed the door, what was the first thoughts that came to your mind as you're walking away into your
I was
car?
like, really, Lord? Really? For real?
So you started praying right then, huh?
So, I mean, God always lines everything up, in perspective and things. And, at a certain age in life, getting to be our mid-20s and things, and, as a man, you want to seek to have a companion. So, I prayed about it, and, I said, Lord, if this your will, let it be. Let it not be something that's forced or something you have to fight with, but let it reveal to me that this is something that is for me. And that's always how I've prayed.
So what was the sign that you asked for? Like if God, because most of the time when people pray, and I've done this too, it's like, God, give me a sign. Give me, if this happens, then this is the decision I should make.
Right.
So what was your sign that said?
I think the overall how it lined up with her coming during the storm and things like that, and we connected at that time, and how we I started showing her things, in the city and things like that. Just start being a help person or companion or friend. And how she was trying to seek the Lord and build her relationship with that. That's something that I was doing at the same time. So we came together and built it together. And that was the sign that saying, this young lady, she come here. I brought this lady for you.
Right.
This is the one that you will be with. And it was moving pretty fast, obviously.
Yeah.
She was saying like that, but that's the way God do things. He can do things very quick and fast. And long story short, we're looking at almost 17 years later.
Mm-hmm. Congratulations. So from the time that she told you that you were going to be her husband, how long did it take for y'all to actually get married?
So you asked where our first date was. She jumped all around that and didn't even go to that one.
You did.
No, you did. So I'm gonna tell
Okay.
you where you rewind back.
Okay, let's go back.
Yeah. So when we first met in person,
Yes.
physically was in Maryland area, And at that time, it was a bookstore that I called Borders Bookstore. I don't know if you remember that. And it was a strip center all at the mall and things. It's still there. And we met in that bookstore. Now it is a hospital, I think, or a clinic.
They changed it 2 times.
They changed it. But we met there and we walked across the parking lot to go sit at the Smoothie King. And that Smoothie King is still there today.
Yeah.
Have y'all gone back?
We talked about it. We haven't gone back yet.
I don't think we've gone back inside since then. But that's where we went and sat. We bought smoothies and that's where we talked. And initially had our first sit down and meet. Who am I? Who are you? And this is, she was here for a job interview.
Right. At that time, I was still in my previous relationship.
Yeah.
And was trying to get a job here with my best friend to live here and doing my own thing.
Yeah.
So all the interviews that I had went to, I had called him because I got lost.
Yeah. She needed
And
directions.
I was lost, and I was like, hey, I was just hoping I could reach somebody because I'm trying to get back home.
There was no GPS on your phone.
It was no GPS. Like, you're just on your own.
Yeah.
So I'm like, where you at? What freeway? Okay, well, let's meet here if you're in town. So that's how I kind of made the
connection.
Where she was at. Connection and say, well, let's meet since you're here and you're going to be going back. Right. But her intent was to move here. So that was the key thing. And we was able to meet in person at that time.
And you were like, oh, he's not old.
Yeah, I'm not old.
At that time, see, I wasn't even, there was no interest in him at all. Like, it was.
You were in a previous relationship.
Yeah, I was in a relationship and, I was trying to do my own thing, on my own. And this is before, I started seeking the Lord, before I rededicated my life to Christ. So anything that I was trying, it was not working. I was overqualified. I was qualified or they didn't give me the job. Like, I went on multiple interviews and did not.
That.
Yeah.
You're overqualified. Okay, I'm not asking you to overpay me.
Exactly.
I'm just asking you to
job.
Exactly. Give me a job. Oh, you're overqualified. I'm not asking you for that overqualified money.
Yeah.
Just give me the job and pay me the whatever you pay everybody else. Yeah.
Right.
That's actually a good thing, right?
Exactly.
You would think.
No.
But no.
I never understood that.
Yep. So yeah, I mean, everything, like Jeremy said, everything has to do with timing. And it was this relationship, the start of this relationship was based off God's timing. I had to be ready, and Jeremy had to be ready in position for us to even come together the way that we did when we were ready to start our relationship.
Right.
So she wrote it in her Bible somewhere, the date we got
I wrote
together.
everything. I wrote
she
everything.
Still got this stuff.
Yeah.
She has the date, but then we had we got engaged. So from time that we talked that night to time we got engaged, I don't know.
We didn't talk about the night.
No, the night when you prayed and told me you're gonna be. From that night, I don't know the time frame, but eventually we started dating.
I do know the time frame. You didn't ask me.
Oh, what's the time frame, sweetheart?
So, after Katrina, I don't know if you remember, but there was another hurricane that was going to hit Houston.
Okay.
It was Rita.
Okay.
And everybody was like trying to get out of here. And I believe it was actually the week before Rita was about to hit. The next day, after he had left that night, after I told him that what God had told me. I was at the park. There was a park that I always loved to go to.
Oh, so the next day. So y'all see, he was praying and you were like freaking out that, oh my God, why did I say this? And
exactly. So the very next day, there was always a park that I went to, which was Meyer Park. Okay. And there's it's a beautiful little pond, man-made pond out there by Walmart that I would just love to go to just to go. Just to unwind, just to, pray, just thanking God, And he called me. Like, I think it had to be like 4:00 that afternoon.
Time, everything.
Wow. I do, because that's how special it is to me. So he called. He was like, "Hey, what are you doing?" I was like, "Oh, nothing. I'm just here at the park." He was like, "Okay, what are you doing out there?" I was like, "Nothing, just chilling." He was like, "Okay." He was like, "Well, can I join you?" And I was like, "Yeah, of course." And so he was like, "Okay, well, I'm on my way." And so he literally was like on his way. So he got there about 30 minutes later, and we were talking, and it seems like we talked and we moved around the park to this place, to that place.
Become nighttime.
Yeah, until it was night. Like it was late and we were still just talking. Like just talking, having conversation. And what was very special about that night that I would never ever forget, and my kids love when I tell this story, is it's in the middle of a pond. There's a walkway, and we were sitting. That was the last place we were. We were sitting at on that walkway, with our like legs dangling at the bars, and there was a flock of geese that I don't even know why they were up that late. I have no idea. You know, normally they be asleep, but it was a flock of them. Like they had to be like 8 or 9 deep. Like they were there, and so they were on the right side, like mind their own business at the tree, and then all of a sudden they decided to get together and walk together and come down that path where we were.
What they do?
And I was like, they were just quacking like they was talking amongst each other or something. And so they started coming our way, and there was one in front. It was a white one, the only white one.
He was the leader or what?
It was like he was like the leader. I don't know what that was,
Wow.
but he was coming, and I was like, Jeremy was on the right side of me, and I said, Jeremy, I said, hey, those geese are coming. He was like, yeah, I see them. I was like, okay. So they kept on coming, quack, quack. They were doing their thing. And then I was like, okay, Jeremy was like, just be still. And I was like, okay, I'm be still. They were walking behind us. And the white one, we were looking like this, like literally like this. And the white one came and put his head between ours.
Yeah.
And stayed there. And I looked in the corner of my eye at Jeremy. And Jeremy looked at me. And Jeremy made the move first. He moved. He jumped up. And then, they left.
Shoot.
Yeah, he shooed them away. But that was the most spiritual moment that I have, besides everything else going on, that I had encountered to show us, hey, y'all meant to be. Like, it was, after that, I was just like, I'm done. Like, Lord, okay, you got me. Yep, this the one. So we didn't even have to say it. Mm-hmm. We after that,
so y'all started dating without actually saying, like,
we
hey,
never
we're
said
together.
it. We got up, we started walking back to our cars, and he grabbed my hand, and we just
been
walked.
together ever since.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
That's a cool story, because I feel like, when you're talking about the story and I'm reminiscing about our times, I wonder, I don't have kids, so I don't really know, but y'all would probably know, y'all have 2 little, beautiful kids.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like nowadays, and I could be wrong, I feel like people don't talk like to each other anymore.
Yeah.
Like how y'all said y'all start from like 4 all the way till night,
Mm-hmm.
like that's pretty good long time. I feel like nowadays there's too many distractions, so where like people are just either on their phones, going through TikTok, going through Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, what may be, but there's not that connection to where like they're connected to other people, and I feel like that could be one of the reasons why there's so much mental illness that's happening around, especially here in the United States.
Right.
Where like I don't know if y'all saw, like recently there was like another shooting.
Yes, in
where
Iowa.
go prayers go out to the parents of that sixth grader.
Sixth grader. Mm-hmm.
That passed away, and it's like, man, it's like, what's going on? Like it's all this, violence that's happening, and it's one of the reasons I think it's because y'all obviously y'all met through. Did y'all go to the same church, or did y'all meet at the church, or started going to the same church?
No.
But the same faith.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, and I feel like nowadays people push religion out so far out to where it doesn't matter if you're Muslim, Christian, Baptist, or even was it Judaism or however
Judaism.
People don't have morals anymore to where they're like, oh, you can be whatever you want to be, and that creates mental illness of unstable beings that are attacking these kids.
Yeah.
And it's like, what do y'all think about, like, what do y'all think is the reason behind that? Is it because we're pushing Christ out of, like pretty much pushing it out of schools, pushing it out of people where like most people now, like right now the fastest growing religion is in the world is Muslims. And I feel it's because Christians, they pick and choose what the word of God is like. Oh, well, like like in the Bible, it sucks to say, but it says, being a homosexual, it's a sin.
Right.
But Christians like, no, it's okay. It's okay if you do that. When it comes to Muslims, they're like, no, this is like it's very strict.
Right.
And even like in the Roman Catholic Church, most Bibles like they're starting to okay that.
Accept it.
Accept it, yeah. And it's like, and it's kind of pushing the people. It's kind of like a turn off. Like, if you're not gonna obey the full what the Bible says, then it's like, why should I be part of your religion? Where it's like your morals aren't even that as strong. It's kind of like if you're a flake. It just whatever benefits me, okay, cool. And then if it doesn't benefit me, I don't want to take that part. Let's take that part of the Bible out.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So I don't know. What do y'all think?
It's definitely a. I think, like you're saying, that Muslims are growing.
The fastest growing religion. Yeah.
It's a structure there.
Yeah.
It's a foundation there, and it doesn't change. It doesn't waver, like you were saying. And I think it starts in the home first, having that strong foundation. I mean, you can go to any Christian home. It might be some differences there or similarities there, but what's the foundation? And that's what we teach our kids: strong foundation. I mean, if like you're saying, two men don't go together. I mean, that's something we don't believe in or teach. That's okay. And some people may get offensive of it. Well, hey, I'm teaching the way I want to raise my kids and growing. I mean, this is what the word says, and this is our foundation that we build upon it. No, we're not perfect, and yes, we do fall, but if you know to do right, and
it's not saying that you hate those people, right? Because
Yeah.
God says they don't hate the person; He just hates the sin.
Exactly.
Right? So
I mean, it's people that live sinful lives all around us. We cannot go.
Right.
You go to the Walmart, you go to the game. I mean, what are we gonna say? Oh, I'm not going out there. It's too many unworldly people. I mean, it used to be that way where they didn't do it. They just kept to themselves. But now, hey, I can mix them in because Jesus, He went out amongst those people. And that's how He witnessed it and won them over.
Right.
I mean, who we winning if everybody in the same room is all the same?
Right, exactly.
Exactly. We got to go out there. Now, I'm not saying lose yourself out there, but at least compel them and encourage them, motivate them, say, hey, there's another way. And let them know at the end of the day, God loves you.
How do you help your kids? Like, cause in school they're kind of indoctrinated to like believe, like especially now with race theory and like all this other stuff that's happening in school. So how do y'all protect y'all's kids from like getting influence not only from teachers but maybe other kids that are like this whole like what's that? Fluid, where there is no gender, you could be whatever you want. How do y'all protect y'all's kids?
Well,
from that, perversity from the world.
yeah. I mean, honestly, we can only do so much. We're not parents cannot be with their kids 24/7 when they're in school. That's one thing that we realize. We understand that they're going to spend more time in their school than they do at home. But what we instill on our kids is we give it to them raw. We explain, this is what's happening in the world. We allow them to see the news and we talk about it. We explain what's going on. We explain the things that's going on in the schools. We explain inclusion. We explain transgender. If they don't understand a word, we're looking it up in a dictionary and we're talking about it. See, that's like Jeremy said, it's the foundation of how you're raising your kids. No, we are not perfect, far from it. But if we have the power to be able to educate our children on what's going on in this world, we can help them have a better future. And so when it comes to what we believe in the Word of God, it's not so much of what we're saying. They can hear what we're saying all day long. But when we show them, hey, listen, let me show you in the Word of God where it says this. Oh, but they didn't say that. No, they're not going to say that, sweetheart. They expect us just to go off of what everybody says. That's why we always tell our kids, know the Word of God for yourself.
Right.
Read the Word of God for yourself and gain an understanding. If there's something that you don't understand, yes, you can talk to us about it, but let's pray about it together to reveal it to you. I don't care what age you are. It's based off of how you understand and what age you are that you're understanding it. So that's what we find very important, is to be able to let them know we start talking about things like this at an early age. We had to, because they were starting to include this stuff in classrooms in
Yeah, like in
second and third
elementary, right?
grade.
Yeah.
Right. And so when I used to visit classrooms and do evaluations, and that's the first time that I actually witnessed it.
Yeah.
Them saying, okay, it's okay to have a daddy and a daddy or mixed families, and I mean,
Appalled?
really, I was surprised, and I was like, wow, okay, my
you
daughter,
were?
yeah, and it was my daughter's school.
Oh, okay.
So that's when we were like,
She's
okay,
the oldest, correct?
she's the oldest,
Right.
and we were like, okay, we got to start talking to them about this stuff. Like, I'd rather it come from us than to come from somebody else or a peer that don't know no better.
Right, exactly.
So
yeah.
that's what we believe in. And we notice that whenever we have more communication with our kids and allowing them, I know how we were raised back in the day.
Yeah.
Like, whatever you feel, you better keep that to yourself. You don't talk back to don't talk back to your parents and da-da-da. But one thing that we have made very clear with our kids is express how you feel to us. Like, this is a moment where let us say what we need to say. Let's come down and talk. Let us say what we need to say. And we're going to give you the floor to express how you feel and tell us how you feel.
That way you know
with respect.
Where they're at, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So instead of just balling all that stuff in, because what's happening, it seems like in this world, is that these kids, these young adults, they're bawling whatever they're feeling all inside, and they feel like they don't have nobody to talk to or nobody they can trust.
Which is weird, right? Because at the time where there's so much freedom in that sense of you can be whatever you want to be, to the point that you can be a dog if you want to be a dog. You know what I mean?
Which has happened.
Yeah, like I think it was a person in Japan who had surgery to make himself like a dog.
Wow.
Like he is on all fours. He looks like a dog. Like so it's gotten to that point, and yet that hole that they have in their hearts or whatever still not satisfied to the point to where they have to go do the atrocities that they do to try to fulfill that fantasy or whatever they're feeling that they want to be, I guess, heard. Because like when kids act out, right? Like I said, I don't have any, but just from the experience of like my niece, nephew, my little sisters, when kids act out is because either they're not getting attention at home from their parents because their parents are too busy, doing something else. Maybe they're too focused on themselves, so selfish that it's like once you have kids, it's no longer about you. It's about them and creating them to be, a successful human being and whatever they want. But it feels like all they want is just attention and love from somebody.
Right.
But like, how do y'all's kids feel about the world? Like you said, they watch the news. How do they like this everything that's happening with Israel and Palestine? How do they feel? Like, do they feel safe going to school? Or do they just like, it's okay?
Yeah. Well, I tell my son, particularly, him growing up to be a young man one day, and I relate things. Hey, you see what's happening in the world? I mean, everybody don't have the opportunities you have or the privilege that you have sitting here. See those people, they're running for their lives every day. Kids, just like your age, even younger. And I tell them, I say, that's not fair. However, you also, I tell them straight up, you've been a young black boy growing up in America, you have to face some things that other people probably don't have to face. Right. I'm not saying that's going to be fair for you, but you got to understand how to deal with difficult moments and conflict and how to communicate and also stand your ground too. So I let him know that. And he's still young, he's growing and learning that. You see it in school. You may stand out and you may get caught doing the wrong thing. I stood out too. I got caught doing the wrong thing. Yeah. My friends do the same thing. They don't get caught. It's just me. I say it's because God has a call on you and on your life, and His hand is covering you. So you can't get away. Right. You're going to get found out and caught. So we share with them, look what's happening in the world. This is a moment where you look and realize I'm really blessed. I don't have to go to school or go to the grocery store and worry about bombs flying on my head. Or have to worry about bulletproof vests or things like that. And these people are taken away from their families, capturing them. And even they got American people over there. And they talking about some Americans caught up in the hostage situations and things like that. And it's just sad, and I wish no bad on either side of them.
Right.
But I mean, when a world refuses to know who God is, sometimes God will allow these things to happen.
Well,
Sometimes.
it's kind of like I like to watch like a lot of podcasts. I watch this guy named Patrick David podcast, PVD, and when they're talking, I almost kind of because they ask why is this happening, right? And I almost want to say is like, well, it's because it's prophesized. Like at the end of the days, the whole world is gonna go after Israel, right? It's written,
Right.
and we're seeing it fulfilled. It says when the Euphrates River dries up, you're gonna hear wars and rumors of wars, and they're gonna attack Israel. And what's happening? Like literally, it feels like we're preparing for World War III, and this could just be me speculating. I could be completely wrong, but like Russia's with Ukraine, that was the start, right? And then China wants to get Taiwan,
Right.
so then they're getting like ready, and then that whole thing happened with they attacked Israel, and now Israel's in war with Palestine, and then with technically Iran, because Iran is funding them.
Right, I
Yeah.
heard about that.
Yeah. So then and then Iran wants to go after Saudi Arabia because Saudi Arabia kind of wants to be part of the West. Like they're starting to make moves where they're like, well, if we don't part of it, if we don't join it, we're losing, the not the edge, but like we're losing some money because you can like there's right now they're buying soccer teams. They're kind of getting involved with that. So then they feel like, hey, you're losing your Muslim ways or whatever. So then everything is like, man, it's just like winding up
Right.
for something. And then I don't know if y'all saw that. I'm not a conspiracy theorist or anything, but it's fascinating to that thing that happened in Florida, where like they're saying that some kids were like popping fireworks, but like stuff started coming out like from a different dimension. Or,
What?
like aliens. They're saying that they're like
Wow.
10 feet beings coming out of this.
What?
Yeah, see that thing in Florida where they're like
Ah.
that they were like supposedly the mainstream story is that these kids were popping off fireworks, but like when you look at the cops from area, they had like the whole in Miami or wherever it was at force. There was like 50 cop cars there,
Wow.
and they were like fighting something that no footage can be
What?
like is out. No,
Really?
like no cops have body cams. None of that stuff is out.
Wow.
So it's like what's going on?
Yeah.
Like
It's-
there's some.
It's definitely. I mean, in times it's inevitable. It's
Yeah.
gonna happen. And these things is just putting things in places, world things in places that we cannot control.
Right.
And I mean, if you're not a believer and don't know what's going on, some may look at it and panic and like, oh my God.
Yeah.
But we that are believers,
You kind of
like
know
you
what's
said, it's
happening.
prophecy.
Yeah,
We
it's
know what's
prophecy.
going to happen.
Yeah, he said, "Fear
That's
not."
why I pray God cover us, protect us, our family, our friends, our loved ones, everyone. Because, we're not going to live forever. And this world will soon end one day. And like I always say, it's going to get worse before it get better.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, we want everything to go back to where it used to be. It's not.
No.
Right.
It's not designed that way. It got to
Yeah.
get worse before it's not going to get better here. But that's when that's why I believe is strong and our faith is strong. Because we don't want to be lost. Don't let me slip and fall. And that's why we raise our kids to have that strong faith foundation. And knowing this world is happening around us, but know that you are covered and we are protected. And even if we do fall or overcome by the consequence of the world, we know where we will be
Right.
Right.
in God's presence. And that's the whole thing of it. I hate to see all the wars and rumors of wars and
Yeah.
things like that. I mean, nobody don't want to live like that.
Right.
And famines
Or,
going on.
or live through it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
But I mean, somebody gonna have to live through it.
Yeah. If it's not us, it's our
Not
kids.
us, our
Right.
kids or
Right.
our kids' kids.
Right.
So that it is inevitable and it's happened. But that's why we must stand strong, trust God always, and know that even in the chaos, God is still in control.
Yes.
So let's switch up the gears a little bit. Let's talk about the movie Leave the World Behind. And
Oh.
then for the last thing that I want to get into is how did y'all get into the business that y'all are in? And then, how can, to finish it, how can people find y'all, get connected with y'all,
Oh, yeah.
and start maybe their own business? Because right now, especially if you look at statistics, a lot of people, the economy sucks so bad that they need a side hustle.
Right.
Yeah.
How can they get connected with y'all to maybe start their side hustle? But first, let's talk about Leave the World Behind.
Yeah.
Yeah, told me to watch it. I definitely did, and man,
What's your
it
take
was
on it?
definitely interesting.
Ooh wee, man. I'm just waiting for a sequel, but yeah, I mean, it really touched on a lot of possibilities. I can honestly say that. We just talked about different things that are happening in the world right now, and kind of makes it starts to make you think when you see a movie like that, like what if that is highly possible.
Does it make you want to prepare, like with food, maybe like
Well, I
other
mean,
stuff?
you'd be surprised. A lot of people are already prepared. And I think it's always good to have an abundance of something stocked somewhere, because we never know when anything is ever going to happen.
Yeah.
And at least you have, a few canned goods here and there, toilet paper, paper towel, basic stuff that everybody runs to get that you try to go is gone. Yeah. So,
do y'all have a plan? Like, it's just in case anything ever went down. Do y'all have a plan? Like, where y'all like, hey, we're a family, we're gonna meet up with our other family, and we're gonna go here, or is it just kind of like?
No, we don't have a plan set in place now. But I mean, people think about it looking at that movie.
It makes you want to.
Look what happened. Communication. Cut off, and access to certain goods and things. You didn't know what was going on, and then all you knew wasn't safe.
Right.
And everybody got a gun and is protecting their own and keeping it to themselves.
I think that's one thing that worries me about the most is if our power grid is ever hit, man, like just with that, like it doesn't have to be a nuclear bomb, doesn't have to be just a hit to power grid, lights out for months on end, people will go crazy.
Right.
Oh man.
Yeah. Unless you know how to, at least, that's something that we have to teach our kids too. Especially when that freeze happen, is you better learn how to survive, make something out of nothing.
Simple thing like open a can with the manual can opener.
Right. Or even a knife.
Right.
They didn't know how to do that.
Or learning how to make fire. Like you gotta learn how to make things out of nothing. Like if you ain't got something, make it. You know. So it's teaching them, regardless of whatever happens in this world, you can be prepared. Like just make yourself ready. Make sure that you're in the know. Not you don't want to be in a situation where everything goes out, you're in the dark, and you just sitting there, and you just sit there and you let your life waste away and you pass because you didn't know.
Right.
Like that, think about that. And that's how the majority of this generation is, this newer generation. If you take away electricity, if you take away the phones,
the Wi-Fi,
take it away, where would they be?
I wonder if walkie-talkies would work, the radio frequencies.
Yeah, they
would
should
have
work.
to, right?
Yeah, radio
we have some walkie-talkies here. We need to get some longer ones that maybe you can go a couple 50 miles long range, but definitely like we have walkie-talkies where I think
CB.
it's like 5 miles. CB radio. Like a lot of people like may like, oh, why do you have that ancient thing? But in the
just
time where phones goes out, that might be the thing that saves your life. You know?
Exactly. Oh man, it's so important because I mean a lot of people depend on these things that help our lives live more easy and accessible, of course. But what if it did go out?
Like all these electric cars,
and like in the movie,
drive themselves, and they can take over, get a virus uplink into the software. Oh my gosh!
You know one thing I always wondered about that, like how Elon Musk's been doing awesome stuff for the world, definitely free speech and all that. But one thing I always did wonder, his Neuralink, where he wants to put that chip inside people's hand and eventually, couldn't people hack that? Couldn't like anything that's a computer, right? It's like I seen a clip where this guy has like this, I don't know, this like weird looking device. I'm not a computer whiz or anything, but he said he can hack a Roomba, like a vacuum, and put a program in it where it'll go into your Wi-Fi, and then from that Roomba he can access all your house information and anything you get on your computer he'll have access to. He can have access to your bank accounts just by putting a thing on a Roomba. A freaking
that's crazy.
Just with a Wi-Fi. So it's like, imagine having that in your head. How couldn't somebody hack it and make them see certain thoughts and make them do certain actions that maybe aren't that towards your favor or towards something. You should do.
Yeah, if you got anything connected to your mind and it's computer generated with codes, I mean, it is hackable. I mean,
Right.
passwords is
Yep.
only so, encryption can only do so much.
How would you even put a password on that?
Exactly.
You know, it's not like they can just.
Right.
Think of it this way, like people they put gas tank locks on their cars, but then they also got devices that
Yeah.
unlocks and opens it up.
Yeah.
There's always a way around the back door and
Right.
protecting ourselves. So that is scary. Oh my gosh.
I was like, I don't know, like I said, I always have like deep thoughts, like especially like at night or showering or whatever. Or just like I see certain things and other things remind me of it. So I'm like, man, it's like I reference the Bible a lot because when I was little, my parents they're pretty religious, so we would go to church a lot. You know, probably like 4 or 5 times a week. So like I memorized quite a bit of the Bible. So when I hear stuff happening, I'm like, man, this feels like the end of times. Like,
Yeah.
like especially like when like prophecy, even in the, cause like I have friends that are Muslim, and even like and I'm curious. I'm not like I'm curious of like why do you believe that? So then I kind of study it.
Right.
Not to like convert or anything, but
Right.
just to see like because if you're ignorant about stuff, then you can't really
Right,
talk
you
about
fall
it. 'Cause
for anything.
Exactly.
Yeah, and then-
Exactly.
Well, that and then it's like, well, why do people believe? Why is this the fastest growing religion? Like, what is it that appeals to so many people? So I started looking at, and even in their prophecies, like certain things are happening now, even in the Quran that are happening now. They're like prophecies. It's like in the times. It's
Right.
like even somebody else's religion is saying that this is the end of times. So one of the biggest things that I want to get into to be prepared for that is finances, right? Because if you're not financially stable, well, how can you be prepared? Like we see that Mark Zuckerberg is building this $200 million compound in Hawaii, where it's like underground, like goes 50 levels down, I think, and it's like, why is he preparing for? What was he getting ready for? You know what I mean? What does he know that I don't? And obviously he's a billionaire. He has the resources to be able to take care of his family, take care of. So how did y'all learn about first of all, if y'all want to, y'all can tell what is this business and how can people learn about this business that could help them be prepared for something like this.
Yeah. So our business is in serving people with energy. Like we all been talking with technology and electricity. Who does not use it? Everybody need it, can't live without it. And this is something that I saw that was could be a life changing for me and my wife at the time. And finance is very important. I mean, as long as you live in this world, you're gonna need a cash flow.
Right.
And if you don't, you're gonna be living from hand to mouth. And we all been there before. We know what it's like. But if you can know a system that has a structure that can produce a cash flow for you, why not try it? I mean, keep your 9 to 5. I tell people all the time, never give up your job, but also have that side gig on the side that you can use. And something that's always going to be needed, always going to be accessible, and you don't have to explain all around it why you need it.
Right.
So it's basically electricity. And that's something that changed our life. We marked 6 years in the business this past December. Yeah, it was been a blessing because we took that leap of faith and expanded ourselves through the test of times. It wasn't easy, but we trust the process.
Anything worth doing normally it never is.
Exactly. And follow through, and now we have better life situation than we did before financially and futures to come. So I mean, we connect with people, leaders within our company, and we like sharing the possibilities of what if this could be a next step for you. I personally believe that everybody has a cross path in their life that can change their life forever.
Whether it's good or bad.
Whether it's
right?
good or bad. And some people have missed those opportunities. They've said, I ain't gonna do it. And some people have saw it and took action. I believe you at least get 2 of them. You may get more, but at least get 2.
What do you think that is? Why do you think they lose the opportunity? You think they're not mentally, not like insane, but like they're just not self-developing, so they like don't see the opportunities? Or what do you think that is?
I think it is
no self-belief.
Maybe the vision or the belief. Sometimes people don't believe they can have what they want, their dreams, their goals. Some people don't believe it because we know what failure looks like. We know what it feels like.
Well, you think they don't think they deserve it? Because I think a lot of
That
people
too.
feel like
Yeah.
they self sabotage. They're just like,
Oh man,
man,
yeah.
I don't deserve it. Like, why should I be the one that gets to be free when my family over here is
Exactly.
struggling? Why
Right.
should I be one?
Exactly.
So then they're like self sabotage.
Of course, absolutely. And we don't have that belief, we don't see that vision. But if you could just have the faith, the grain of a mustard seed, you can say
Move
to that
mountains.
stone or that mountain, be thou moved. So
Yeah.
I think it just starts from the mindset and what they believe that they can do.
Right.
You got to see it before you see it, before you ever can see it.
That's what faith is, right?
Yeah, man.
Exactly.
So we took that leap of faith in our business, our entrepreneurship. I mean, I didn't know what that was.
Right.
I didn't know what residual
Residual.
income was. I mean, we learned that along the way,
Right.
and that's the key thing. You learn along the way. All the greats do it. I mean, people that's successful, they don't just stop being successful. Like Michael Jordan,
Right.
he was a great basketball player, but did he stop when his career ended? No, he went on and built the empire.
Right.
And the same thing with other successful people. This is just one of those things we do that helps fund our life, fund our vacations, fund things that we like to do. And if anybody has a strong mindset that they can do more in their life, then go out and do it. Get out, unplug from the Matrix. There you go.
Right. There you go.
I was watching the Matrix movie. I mean, I always got to
That's a
bring
good
that up
movie, yeah.
because you saw how he had to get unplugged from what everybody was seeing, everybody
Right.
was doing,
Yeah.
and get into the real reality. It's not pretty.
No, it wasn't. He probably wished he could go back.
Exactly,
Yeah.
but he wanted to make a difference
Yeah.
in the world, and that's what we all here to do. We here to do great things in the short amount of time we got.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how did y'all hear about it? Like, what was the first time? And you were the first one that started looking
Yeah.
into it, and she kind of was like, maybe.
Yeah, man. So, real quick, very simple. Me and my wife, we was married for some time, and we got to the point like, man, you know, there's more to life than go to work, go to church, kids, family, rinse, wash, repeat.
Right.
We still have, you know, struggling here and there and there. So we were struggling financially, hit a bad point, and met a young lady at the gym that I frequently every morning. And we talked on the treadmill while we was running, and well, not talk, but she introduced herself.
Yeah.
And I didn't talk much to her, but over time, after seeing the person develop a, you know, communication
Relationship, yeah.
dialogue, and she asked me, would I be interested in taking a look at a way to make an extra income, make some money? And at that point, I was like, yeah, I'll take a look. I mean, we definitely can use it.
Yeah.
Can't promise I'll do what it is. I don't know what it was,
Right.
but she invited me to take a look twice. I did not show up twice. You know, it's always about timing, you know,
Right.
God's timing.
Yeah.
And I don't know why. I mean, I say it was life, that hustle and bustle. Fast forward 8 months down the road, knowing we needed something, but
Yeah.
didn't take action.
Right.
So that go that self-doubt or self-sabotaging thing. I didn't take action. But my wife was laid off work, and I knew we had to do something, man, because this is one income now. We got to at least try to find something. I saw the young lady again at the gym, as always, and I said, I would like to take a look at
So it's that
what is it.
consistency, huh?
Yeah,
Always
so
going.
yeah, always going, and right place at the right time.
Yeah.
Saw what it was. We help people save on a utility bill, a service that they need and can't live without. I said, yeah, this is it. Yeah, I gotta do this.
And you were working for an electric company at the time too, right?
Right.
She was working
Yeah.
for an electricity company. Well, she was laid
Laid
off
off.
from
Yeah.
an energy
Yeah.
company. And I come here bringing another energy company saying, hey, look at this video.
Yeah, exactly.
What did you
Literally-
think when you first saw it?
I don't. I had never been laid off before, so I was already kind of like in that wavering state of I can't believe this just happened. This really happened,
Yeah,
you
the
know.
denial
And
phase,
then I heard and just like, man, what do I do? And he comes to me a couple of weeks later, and it was like, hey, you know, I want you to see something. And first thing I saw was electricity. I'm like, I just left the place like this? And he was like, just watch the video. And at that time, I couldn't bring myself. Normally, I do not. Everyone knows me and Jeremy are like white on rice, like sugar and coffee, but it's just, I couldn't bring myself to say, okay, sure, let me watch that video, honey. It was just like a no, I don't want to see it. Like I was so stubborn. I was really stubborn. I was like, oh no, I can't. And like he asked me 3 times. And I was like, the last time I was like, babe, listen, I love you. And I will have your back, but I can't, I cannot do. And I said, I'll whatever you need, you go ahead and do what you got to do, but I'm going to take a back seat on this one. Because let me tell you the backstory behind that is because we've been in network marketing before. Like, we've done it, but we weren't successful in it, right. And so what I saw was, if we make an investment, are we even going to get our money back? Can we afford not to get our money back? What happens if this falls through and it doesn't work out? Like, I had so many what ifs. And then I did the research on the company, and I was like, look, they have all these reviews, and I just found like the reason to tell him no. Yeah. So many reasons.
You found what you're looking for, right?
Mm-hmm. Right. And so,
reason to say no.
He did what he had to do. He went ahead and he joined the business. I took that seat back and I just watched and I waited, but he didn't open
Were you waiting for him to fail, or were you
I was hoping? Waiting for the failure.
So you were. So,
I was waiting for
people,
the failure.
Right? They're just like, oh, see, I told you wasn't
wasting
the time.
I
told you.
Exactly, and that's. I got to that point. It was a month later, and I had look. First of all, he changed the bill, didn't tell me. I'm trying to figure out why we getting a final invoice from this electricity company that I used to work at. Mm-hmm. And so I'm calling. Somebody called. Yeah, somebody called and they switched already. I was like, Jeremy Hennesy. So I called him and I was like, hey, babe, you switched the company? Yeah, babe, you told me to do what I need to do.
And I did
it. And he did it.
Number one, you were listening to your mentors.
Listening. Yeah. So that was number one. Number two, I think it was like a week later or so, and I'm looking, I'm about to pay bills, and I'm looking through the bank account, and I'm seeing these credits, and I'm just like, what is this credit for? Something's not right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Deposits.
Right. And I was like, something's not right here. And so I called him. He was at work. I called him and I was like, hey, babe, something's not right here. I said, I'm looking at the bank account, about to pay the bills and stuff, and I noticed there's like a credit here, and it says, it's the company that you joined. And I was like, this something's not right. I told you something's not right with this company. See, didn't I tell you? I told you. And he was like, babe, wait. He was like, no, babe, we making money from that. That's a credit. Mm-hmm. And I was like, what? He was like, yes, we're making money from this. And I was like, oh, okay. And I was like, well, that video that you was trying to show me.
Real quick.
There you go.
Video you was trying to show me, can you go and send it back to me? Let me take a look. And so when I looked at it, I did have my questions because I was so used to, with the company that I worked for, I was so used to being, going to work. Right. Having having standard procedures, policies and all these things and things that you have to follow. And, I didn't see that it was possible to do this other business and it not be like this other company that I actually work for.
Policies and rules you got to follow.
Right.
Yeah, but you kind of set up your own because it's your business.
Right. Yeah. You don't have set hours and somebody telling you what to do. And for a minute, I was just like, how is that even possible? How can you be successful in that? But as we grew within the company, I began to see oh, wow, okay. They said that this is possible and these other things are possible, okay. We're actually seeing this actually happen. Right. We're seeing the possibilities. We're actually bringing along.
We're doing it.
We're doing it, yeah. And we're bringing along people that we love and care about, and they're seeing the difference too, and we're seeing their lives change as well. There's something here, and that's what sparked my belief. And I was like, okay, we're gonna do this. Let's go ahead and let's do this together, and we'll go full forward. So, That's
And
how
that's
we.
how y'all got to 1%, because 1% of the people that join this business
Yeah.
actually make it to the position that you're in. So
Exactly.
congratulations.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Thank
And that was
you.
a goal that we wanted to do. I mean, everybody will get there if you stay consistent and push through it. I mean,
Yeah.
it's definitely bound to happen. Absolutely.
Right. Right. And we have our highs and lows. Seems like whenever one person's high, the other person's low. Whenever one's low, the other one's high. So it works out. We encourage one another. And I
Absolutely.
think that's the most important whenever it comes to being in business with your significant other or your spouse, is just being able to stay in it together in open communication. Even if you don't agree on what y'all are going to do, talk it out and communicate. That is so much better than to go your separate rooms, not talk to one another, letting anger fester, and then y'all come together, y'all arguing about whatever business it is, and then it doesn't
Flourish.
the way that you want it to. So I think communication was really, really a huge part because
I think the biggest thing too is the leaders, right? Because y'all are leaders
Definitely.
in your own right now in this business, and the difference that I can see like in this business compared to like traditional working 9 to 5, your corporate job,
Right.
is that in your corporate job people put you down, and this business people will lift you up. They want you like, hey, what do you not know? Well, I need you to learn it. Like I need you to improve, be a better person, and don't chase the money for the money. Chase for the money what will make you.
Yeah.
It's like what Jim Rohn said. Don't be a millionaire just to have the money. Be a millionaire because the person you're gonna become as a millionaire.
Right.
Because money is just a tool, right? You can either be it just amplifies who you are. If you're a selfish person that's greedy or just into bad stuff, well, that's what you're gonna become as a. But if you're a giving person, that you're, obviously when you're in that level, you're gonna give it to your community. You're gonna give it to the people that are needed.
Right. Exactly.
That's one of the biggest things that I've seen in our organization from the people like Rose Duncan,
Definitely.
Mark Guerras, and
Yes.
all the top leaders that are growing this business, that are so giving and so not just of like resource but of their time, because that's the biggest thing, right? The reason why we joined this business is to get our time back.
Right.
Because that's the one resource you can never get back. You can lose money, you can be zero. But you can always make that up, right? But time is the one commodity that will never come back.
Right.
Exactly.
The second that we spoke here will never come back. So we have to spend it with the right people, spend it with the right people that have the same mindset, have the same goals, have the same dreams that can make us propel ourselves to get to those dreams.
Exactly. Absolutely, man. We really rock and roll it.
Yeah.
That's right. So where can people reach y'all at? How can they get communicated with y'all to maybe join this business and learn more about it?
So we're
Here in Houston.
here in Houston, Texas. We're on Instagram, Facebook at Jeremy Hennesy Senior, Instagram and Facebook, and you're at Miyoshi Hennessy. She don't know Instagram.
Instagram, I believe it's MJ.
Just find him and then you'll find her.
Yes, exactly. Look for the wife. Look for the spouse.
And
Miyoshi Hennesy.
And our business page is Electricity on Instagram and Facebook. So check us out.
Check
them out. Definitely hit them up. Leave some comments down below of anything y'all want to learn from them. Maybe they'll hit you up. And with that, guys, thank you for watching.
Peace.